Hey there, this is your pal Pallie, and welcome back to Overrated. This is episode number 4? 4? And today we're going to be talking about how to develop that initial strategy for your guild for your kills. So there are a lot of sources of information out there for figuring out strategy and what's going to work best for your guild, but I kind of want to get them all together and give you a comprehensive picture of what you should probably do as a raid leader to get your strategy together, get what you need to do for your guild. So we'll talk about PTR, we'll talk about raid guides, we'll talk about forums, we'll talk about a lot of different things today, but let's get started with what I consider to be probably the best way to get your strategy off on the right foot, which is PTR. In case you don't know, Blizzard actually allows us users to get on their public test realms, and you can copy over a character and basically play the game and test it out for them. It'd be great if you report bugs, if you find stuff, and it's a nice thing for just about everyone to do, so you can try out new rotations and try cool, whatever, see this brand new talent that they have. But for raid leaders in particular, it's really nice for them because they can get onto the PTR and test the actual encounters, the raid encounters that are coming. So, you can get on there, and the tricky thing about it, though, is unfortunately they only allow a certain window, 1 to 2 hours, to test each encounter. They test it in a lot of different modes. They do the normal mode, 10-man normal, then heroic, then 25, etc., etc. So there's a lot of testing windows out there. But it's really a great experience to get on PTR, get into the encounter, and it really doesn't matter if you end up killing the boss on PTR or getting close. It's really good to just get on there and get a sense of what's going on. And you can do that. Just do it. Just try to do it if you can. A lot of times, understandably, they schedule the PTR testing for, normal US working hours, or it's really not convenient for EU, that kind of stuff. So I understand if you can't do it. Probably second best would be to watch raid streams of people doing PTR testing. So I know MMO Champion will have a couple of people's raid streams up there that are actually doing testing. Log into those, check it out, see what they're doing, see how they're pulling it. Just get a feel for the encounter. Failing that, if you can't do that while it's happening, you could go back and look at PTR raid guides or even just point of view videos. I know I had a ton of traffic for getter raid guides for PTR for Siege of Orgrimmar, just because there were maybe 3 or 4 who actually put it out there, and people just want to get a sense of the fight. I look back at those guides and go, wow, what was I doing? Hopefully I've developed a bit more professionalism since then, but people just wanted to first look at the encounter, and maybe I only got 2 minutes into the fight and we died all the time. I remember Paragon's heroic, it was just we're dead within a minute and a half, but got a lot of hits because I got to explain a lot of different stuff about the heroic mode and all that other jazz. So PTR, good thing. If you can get on it, that's best. If you can't, watch some raid streams. And if you can't do that, look back at YouTube videos, PTR guides, write-ups, all that kind of stuff. So now that's talking about fights that haven't come out yet. So that's a lot of stuff for sort of bleeding edge guilds that want to be the first in there to kill, kill all normal modes the first week and work on heroics. That's for them, but you can still get a sense from PTR videos for the first, say you're a middle of the road guild and you think you'll kill, half of it in the first week or something like that, whatever. You can still get a sense of what the fights are from PTR, and all the better. You might boost your guild's progression because you as a raid leader understand a lot of the mechanics and how to explain them to people. So do it. Go to PTR. It's fun. So after the actual raid has gone live, there are a lot of sources of information. You got video raid guides, which obviously I kind of prefer my own, but obviously I'm not a world first person. I don't have raid guides that are out for myself. I don't have a time machine. So even looking at other people's raid guides, or failing that, if you can't find a raid guide and you're that bleeding edge, or you're close to it, you can look for point of view videos, POV videos on YouTube, and just watch the fight and just see what it is, see what it looks like. And combine that with a number of other sources, and you can get a sense of what's going on. Now, let me go back to raid guides. Obviously, I like my own, and I like the style that I do. There's quite a few others out there, Fat Boss, and there's a lot. There's a ton. Go searching for raid guides, you'll get a bunch. But you can really get a sense, at least for one strategy of how to approach a fight. And it's been pointed out to me in the past that it's really nice to get a sampling of different raid guides and say, take a look, get a raids, please, and subscribe. Yeah, thanks. Sorry, shameless plug, gotta do it. But go watch the Fat Boss one. Go watch this one. Go watch that one. And you might get a strategy that works better for your guild, or what is a strength of your raid group. So don't always go for the one type of raid guide and be like, wow, we're always going to do this strategy because that's what Pallie says. Yeah. Don't. Go find some other ones. Go look at them. Because you might get a different perspective. You might get a different thing that wasn't in the other guide. And, sure, why not? More information. So, again, if you can't find a lot of good raid guides, you can simply watch point of view videos. And point of view videos are great for even individual raiders. You're the main tank for your guild. Go watch the tank perspective for this fight, because there's a lot of nuances to hiding some ads or doing some stuff. Whatever. Go find those videos. And you'll learn some extra stuff. Obviously, a lot of people like just text guides. Just, Icy Veins usually has some write-ups of the fights after they've been out for a little bit on, these are the abilities, here's what's to pay attention to, here's the changes for heroic mode. So there's a lot of good guides out there too for that. So, search up the Googles and find out what you need to find out. So text guides are another piece of information you can look at. And speaking of text, a lot of the strategies and a lot of the sort of help that I get from leading my raids is on forums. So MMO Champion, TankSpot.com, Main Tankedin. Well, Main Tankedin's more tanking. But anywho, just look at some forums and search through there for, hey, we're having trouble on Garrosh 10-man normal. And there'll be tons of posts there. Or even start your own thread about, hey, here's my comp, here's what's going on, here's my worldoflogs.com link for the last 10 wipes, help us out. That can work out too. So, try forums. Take a look at forums. And even, there's a lot of people who are assembling forum posts that are simply looking at the strategy, or saying, this is what the strategy is. They're putting text guides in forum posts, so might as well go there too. And, raid streams, if you have a particular guild that you like to follow, you can watch their raid streams and get a sense of their kills from that. So, I know I'm piling on the sources and getting through this quickly, but, there's a lot of information out there on the interwebs. Go there. So, and one of the, Blizzard has sort of helped us out, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but the Dungeon Journal. Heck, the Dungeon Journal. I'm going to even, load up the game here and, show y'all what's in the Dungeon Journal. But you could even get a sense of what a fight is. Read the Dungeon Journal. Just look at it. Just go, oh, here's Thok the Bloodthirsty on Heroic. Okay. Here's stage 1, do. Okay, he's got something that's relevant to the tanks. Oh, stacking dot. Okay, that probably means that's a tank swap mechanic. Okay, cool. Got this thing that's important. Oh, he screeches and interrupts people a lot. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. We probably should be healing hard through all of this. Tail lash. Well, what's that do? Oh, that's hits people from behind. Probably shouldn't stand behind him. Okay, that makes our raid positioning. That tells us that our raid positioning, we need to be by his side or in front of him. Well, probably not in front because there's a frontal cone thing. So you get that sense, and you can keep going through, finding out what's bloodied. That sounds weird. Let me read this. When there's a number of players who are within, enters a frenzy of blood. Oh, what's the next thing here? Stage 2, Frenzy for Blood. You get the idea. You just get to read through the abilities, and even if you haven't seen it yet, you still will be able to say, I have a sense of what this fight is. Like, for example, I do tend to look at other guides, I look at other, point of view videos and stuff, but, sometimes I just want to look at a fight real quick. Like we're finally at, we finally killed Dark Shaman on Heroic for my guild, for my Hunters group. And I'm looking at the next fights, I'm going, okay, this fight here for Heroic mode, you got this thing over here. Well, what's this? Okay, maybe I don't like that as well, but, let me look at Spoils of Pandaria. Well, nothing's changed in all of this, but I see that this has got Unstable Spark. For every thing you kill, you get an unstable spark. Well, my group is really strong DPS-wise, mainly because I'm in it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that full of myself. Maybe. Maybe. But I think, this other one back here is kind of a healing intensive part, or we might have to change the comp up a bit, but this is just do more damage, and there's some extra ads running around. Cool, that might actually be a strength for my raid group. I'm going to go after this. And just reading through the whole fight, if done on normal mode, you go and say, oh, you got this extra ad. Okay, just let's tank stuff in the middle. You don't even have to, the raid guide for Fat Boss for this is basically, there's a spark that comes out for every ad you kill. End of guide. They go into more depth, but that's really all there is to this particular fight. You could probably just read this and go, oh, that's probably what we need to do. Just kill this thing before it explodes. Oh, done. So, the Dungeon Journal is a great way to just start looking at what's coming up. And, ding, 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 bonus, the PTR is usually updated with the Dungeon Journal as the raid encounters are coming out. So, I even took the screenshots for some of my guides, for the title things. I took them directly from the Dungeon Journal on PTR, and most of the abilities were filled in there. Now, granted, they can change before it goes live, and that's always a risk, and I probably should have mentioned that in the PTR section, but it's always a risk with PTR. Something's going to change significant that's going to affect your strategy, but even then, you get a big sense of, what's going on. If you raid PTR, or if you read the PTR Dungeon Journal, like if you do nothing else with PTR, download the client. I know it's 20 gigs, bandwidth limits, all that, but if you do nothing else, load it up, close to when the patch is going to be coming out, close to when the raid tier is going to be coming out, and just read through the Dungeon Journal. Just look at what it says about the fights, and what you'll get a sense. You'll get a sense that, well, this is a council style fight. This is a straight up DPS check, it looks like. This is, just go through all of that kind of stuff. So, Dungeon Journal, yay. Go for it. And, finally, this is a social game. This is, we're massively multiplayer online game. Here's a tip. Go ask people. Socialize. Talk to people on, the forums is one sense of socialization, but you might as well, start cultivating some connections with raid leaders, or even, you pugged with this guy on open raid or something, in Flex, and you see that his guild is more progressed. Hit him up for a tip on this thing. Ask them about, literally a couple days ago, I was asking Agathon from Tank Spot, hey, what did you think of Malkorak versus Spoils? What were they like? And he's 25 man, I'm 10 man at this point, but he still was able to give me a sense of stuff, like, hey, here's what we did for the boxes on Spoils, and Malkorak, we had this. So you just get those little tips and those little things that I'll share in raid guides and stuff, but some people might struggle with, this section of a fight versus this one because their raid group is different, or, hey, they didn't have a mage and that made this thing really hard, but for your group it's not a problem. Just stuff like that. So talk to people. Talk to other raid guilds. I mean, I would love to get questions from people. I'm not necessarily doing a question show, but I love to get comments and questions on my videos and even in-game questions from people saying, hey, I watched your PTR guide, or I watched this. Could you explain more about this? Or do you really think we need a Pallie tank for this thing? Or just stuff like that. Why not? Talk to them. A lot of guild masters and raid leaders and people in general are busy, so be nice about it. Be like, hey, you got a minute? Or, hey, can I get your real ID? Or can I send you a in-game message later, or a forum message or something? Whatever people are comfortable with. There's going to be assholes that are going to be like, whatever, I don't want to talk to you, noob. You're 1 out of 14 heroic. Get out of my face. I'm killing Garrosh every week on heroic. It's stuff like that. I know that happens. But there's a lot of raid leaders that would be happy to share, a little tip or trick here and there. Yeah, PvE raiding is a competitive thing. You want to be better than the other raid guild. But in the end, it might be that raid group falls apart and suddenly they're coming to you asking for a raid spot because their raid group's gone. So, there's some give and take. I understand. But you might as well try asking. And that goes back to the forums and stuff. Ask on Tank Spot, ask on MMO Champion, ask on all these places, and you're going to get someone eventually who's nice enough to answer your question. Imagine that. The internet is nice. So, anywho, that's all of the ways you can develop your initial strategy, but that's like all of these pieces, all of these sources for information. So you got PTR, which can be actual rating on it, or watching some streams, or looking at videos after the fact. When things are live, video guides. Get a raid's pretty good. Point of view videos, text guides like Icy Veins. You can ask people on forums. You can ask people in game. Take a look at your favorite guild's raid stream and watch them. And then also use Blizzard's nice built-in guide to the fights with the dungeon journal. So, anywho, probably a shorter episode tonight, but hey, it's the holidays, so I get a little break. But anywho, post some comments below. See, if you have some more sources of information, some more sources that you think would be useful for people, post them in the comments and YouTube. I'm reading them. If you want to ask me about fights, like I just said, message me on TankSpot. My username over there is Pallie, Pallie, or watch my raid guides once again. But yeah, here's a lot of sources of information, and that's really all you need to develop that initial strategy. Come up with things, ask your raid members, take all this stuff into account. The more information you have, the better prepared you're going to be, the better prepared you're going to be to down the fight. So, anywho, that's it for me. This is your pal Pallie for Overrated number 4, talking about initial strategy, and have a good one, guys.